Ciao a tutti e benvenuti al Tavolo Italiano. Hello and welcome to the Italian table. Today is an introduction of a different sort. Today's introduction is going to explain why we're getting ready to launch a series of videos. A series of videos on the Italian preposition. I get a lot of emails, and in the past I struggled quite a bit with my comprehension of Italian. And as I stated earlier, I get a lot of emails stating that a lot of you do too. There are a lot of things that we do to attack the comprehension problem, to improve our comprehension of the Italian language, and these are all good things. However, there is one area I feel like has been somewhat neglected. The area of prepositions. We don't tend to place as much importance on the prepositions as I feel that we need to. And I confirmed that this week. Having been laid up from a recent operation, I've had time to do more research than I would normally do, and I've come to realize that the prepositions are far more important than I've been giving them credit for. And so we're going to start a series on the Italian preposition. But first, I just want to lay out the case as to why, and prepare you, and hope that you look for these videos coming out on prepositions, and that you'll begin to compile your notes and build your understanding of the Italian preposition, and thus improving your comprehension overall. I did get onto a website called EnglishNiche.com, and I pulled off the following quote. Prepositions are short words, on, in, to, that usually come before nouns, sometimes also in front of gerund verbs. They never change their form or spelling. Prepositions are extremely difficult to master, and because there are so few rules for learning them, the best way is looking them up in an advanced dictionary, reading a lot, and memorizing useful phrases. Prepositions are important because they work to connect various parts of the sentence. Prepositions tell us where something is in relationship to something else, or how things are related in space. In, on, to, with, over, under, onto, into, beside, or where. Others show physical connections or possession between nouns and pronouns, and another word within that same sentence. So what I'm getting at is the whole, while you may recognize different words, verbs, etc. in sentences, the prepositions show how they all relate to one another. By the way, this is talking about prepositions in English, but it's about the same in Italian with a lot of the different things they say. The rules aren't as hard and fast and easily attainable as they are, for instance, with the verb system. So it requires a lot of examples, which is how we intend to attack this. Okay, I'm going to show you on the screen here what I did, and I just pulled this article out in random. What you're looking at right now is an article from an Italian newspaper that I just randomly selected, and I went through and I highlighted all the prepositions in this article, and I could not believe how many of the words were prepositions. In yellow, I highlighted all of the prepositions that are of the form a, or is the easy translation some people say to. In green, various forms of in the light blue or azzurro, the various interpretations or variations of the preposition di, etc. And so you can see there that there's quite a few prepositions in this relatively small article. And if we don't have a really good handle on how the prepositions work in Italian, we're really not going to get the gist of it. Nor are we going to be able to communicate as well as some of us would really like to. So I did another little example. I pulled out an English example and I took the prepositions out of this. This is just the beginning of an article. By the way, the content of the article means nothing. It's neither here nor there. not trying to push an agenda. I just picked an article quickly and then just started to pull the prepositions out. I wanted it to be random on purpose, so I'm going to go ahead and read this. And while we may get the gist of it, this is what it would sound like without most of the prepositions. I might have left one or two in there. The State Department Thursday released over 3,000 Hillary Clinton's personal emails her time as Secretary of State, marking the last major document dumps of the year. Okay, so it's not real clear. Still, the agency said Thursday that it will fall short the mandate release 82% of Clinton's total emails the end of 2015, blaming the holiday schedule and the sheer number of documents involved. We have worked diligently to come as close to the goal as possible, but the large number of documents involved and the holiday schedule, we have not met the goal this month. The State Department said a statement. To narrow that gap, the State Department will make another production of former Secretary Clinton's email sometime next week. The latest batch, 3,105 emails, includes 275 documents upgraded classified since they landed the former Secretary's personal inbox. That brings the total number of classified docs found to emails 1,274. A State Department official told Fox News Thursday that those emails were upgraded secret, while most others were upgraded confidential. Okay, so you know what it's talking. Oh, I got one more sentence here. Sorry. The newly released emails reveal Clinton and one of her closest aides, Jake Sullivan, had an exchange September 2010 that showed considerable confusion in her email practices. So, talking about considerable confusion, I think in that little bit of an article that I read, there was considerable confusion there. It was obvious what I was talking about. I was talking about the email situation with Hillary Clinton. At least I was reading about it. There were some statements. Obviously, some are being released, things of that nature, but you really can't get the gist of it. You really can't get the details of it without having those prepositions in there. They're critically important to the communication, which brings me to ask the question, how many of you who are, you're a little bit farther along in your Italian, intermediate at the very least, maybe entering into that advanced realm, and you're speaking with an Italian. Now, I know this has probably never happened to you, okay, but just in case, how many of you have had a conversation with Italian, you're holding your own pretty well, and you get the gist of what they're saying, but you're not exactly sure about all of the details, and then they ask you for some confirmation that you agree with them, or they ask you a question, a yes or no question, and so you kind of do the yes or no thing, but you're not really, really, really positive what it is that they're saying, okay? I think a lot of that is driven by our lack of understanding of Italian prepositions. You put those prepositions back in there and read it, since we understand English prepositions, and this thing becomes extremely clear as far as how it reads. So having said that, that is what's driving our upcoming study on the Italian prepositions. We're going to take a different approach at it, as opposed to just listing out all the prepositions and then all of the rules. What we've decided we're going to do is we're going to take a couple of examples of how a preposition or prepositions may be used in Italian, and then at the end of those couple of examples we'll formulate a simple rule that will be very situation specific, and then we'll compile those rules and keep them on tavoloitaliano.com for reference. But we're hoping by doing it this way, by giving examples, actual examples of how to use the prepositions, that it will help us all to remember how to use them when we need them, or to remember what the significance of that preposition is when we hear them. So having said that, I hope you join us for our upcoming series on the Italian preposition. For me, that's one of my big personal goals for 2016, is to master the Italian preposition, greatly improving my fluency in my comprehension of the Italian language. So, until the next video, the actual first teaching video on the Italian preposition, ciao, grazie mille. Remember, you can always find more at www.iltavoloitaliano.com. Ciao.